All right, Nick, let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars have been making some big moves, redeveloping this team over the past few years, and they made one move in particular recently. It was kind of like a long-term play, a long-term investment, so to speak, and now they are finally able to potentially get those dividends.
Yeah, Miles, I think it's an exciting story you got. But before we go into that, Jacksonville fans from Duval, we want to hear from you in the comment section below. This Jaguars franchise is obviously relatively new in terms of NFL history, coming into existence in 1995. That doesn't mean there haven't been a lot of all-time great Jaguars, however. So we want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Give us your favorite Jaguar, the quintessential Jacksonville Jaguar. The guy you think embodies everything about this Jacksonville franchise. Let us know who that guy is in the comment section below. All right, Miles, what you got? What's the latest news out of Jacksonville?
All right, Nick. Jacksonville made the investment into wide receiver Calvin Ridley from the Falcons. They got him when he was still suspended from the horrible, horrible crime he committed of betting, I think, $1,500 on some crazy, like 5-6 game parlay. He's a bad person, and, he's owned that mistake. Now, all kidding aside, moving on, Ridley has officially been reinstated by the NFL. So now it's official. He can come back, he can go into the Jags, and he'll be able to make all of spring training, all of training camp, anything coming into the season, preseason. He is now a full participant in the Jaguars program and is not restricted by anything. This is a pretty big move for the Jags, Nick, who were very good last year, and now adding a receiver of Ridley's caliber could make them even better. What do you think about the news? We all knew it was coming, but it's official now, Nick. Calvin Ridley has been reinstated.
Yeah, it's hard for me to think of a team outside of maybe Kansas City that's better in the AFC right now than the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know that's a high praise, but when you look at the entire rosters, right, you look at, the Buffalo Bills, they're getting older. Josh Allen's contract is coming into fruition. They have to move off players. They're not nearly as good as we thought. They almost lost to the Dolphins in the opening round of the playoffs. And you look at teams like the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Patriots, the Jets, other solid but not great teams. They have questions at quarterback. How good are those teams? Really don't know. If you look at the division, the AFC South, the Titans are cutting everybody and trading everybody, it seems like. Texans, Colts, total rebuild. You go with the Ravens. Who knows with Lamar Jackson? The Steelers feel like they're a couple of years away. The Browns are going to brown, right? And then you go out west, the Raiders feel like they're in a rebuild. We don't know what the Broncos are going to look like. And the Chiefs, they're number one. They're top dog, like I mentioned. And then you have the Chargers that always seem like they disappoint a little bit despite having Justin Herbert. Meanwhile, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? This team that won a playoff game and became a Spiral Agnew turnover away in the red zone from making that a legitimate game in Kansas City. Like if Agnew doesn't fumble that football, it's probably 27-24 with 4 or 5 minutes to go. That game could completely different. Like we could be talking about a completely different situation here in the world of the NFL right now if Agnew doesn't fumble that football. But all that being said, Jacksonville is really, really good. And they brought back a lot of these guys and they set up their roster in a really smart way. They brought back Sheriff, Zay Jones. They structured these contracts, Charlie Kirk, so that way they could be all under Lawrence's rookie deal. Makes sense. They franchise tagged Evan Ingram. Ridley comes into the effect. And then on top of it, they do, I think, a quietly really smart move. They're going to cut or trade Shaquille Griffin. And that's going to open up about $13.5 million in cap space. And again, Griffin, nice player when he's healthy, but wasn't healthy much of last season. Only 5 career interceptions, I think. So again, good, solid player, not worth that kind of money. Makes sense to move off of him. So when you factor all those things in and you look at how good this offense is going to get, the development of Trevor Lawrence, what Doug Peterson has done historically in the past, I don't know if there's a team more scary right now in the AFC than Jacksonville. They're young, they're athletic, they're fast, they're exciting, they're hungry, they're talented, right? They're deep. Now, name a deeper wide receiver core in the NFL than what the Jaguars have. It is unbelievable. It's as crazy as to say, what a great job, an unbelievable job Trent Baalke and Shad Khan have done with that organization in Jacksonville over the last 2 years. It's been stupendous.
Yeah, you think about going into the beginning of last season, though, Nick. We look at Jacksonville moving fresh off of the Urban Meyer experiment. We think about, the front office. There were some woes there. But now, from the hiring of Peterson, the redevelopment, the layers added into the front office, the addition of some key players, like you said, this team, it is so scary because they were pretty good last year. No one knows how much better they could even be this year. Their ceiling is ridiculous right now. They have potential to be insane. As you say, who has a deeper room? The Jags may not have the high highs as a guy like a Devontae Adams on their roster, but their depth all across the board, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, all of those guys are borderline number one, strong number two candidates, I'd say. They're all looking like very, very good receivers. And obviously, the franchise tag on Ingram. Ingram was a dynamic tight end, pass catching threat for them last year as well. So I think you said it beautifully. This team is really, really scary. And the addition of a guy like Ridley, I just think that everybody needs to watch out because I would be the guy betting on the Jaguars to make a deep playoff run on the AFC side of things next year.
And just one more point, Miles. You look at what an elite number one kind of receiver can do for a young quarterback. Look at Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Right, what happened there? They make a run to the Super Bowl. They take that step. How about Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs when they bring Diggs over to the Buffalo Bills? How much better that Bills team comes overnight. I think Ridley will have a similar effect with Lawrence there in Jacksonville. I think this team is going to be dynamic in 2023. And frankly, they may be the team to beat in the AFC before it's all said and done.